Welcome to another edition of Escape Bites, mini-sodes, where we take a bite into crime. I'm Julie.
I'm Charity.
And today we're biting into the true crimes of Fruitcake and Cupcake.
Hamsters? I had hamsters.
Did you really?
And Twinkie and Cupcake when I was a kid. So that's the first thing that came to mind.
No.
Okay, not hamsters.
They're not hamsters. Okay. They're referring to adult people.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll get to them in a moment.
Okay.
But first, you know how every month has holidays and observances. Some are serious and some are silly, right? So May has Mother's Day. It's also Mental Health Awareness Month, both very important. I also learned that May 18th is World Baking Day.
Baking,
international holiday. I started looking for baking fails so bad that we could consider them criminal for the purpose of the escape bite. And there are quite a few out there, including my own.
Okay.
So, do you know what peanut butter blossoms are?
No.
Okay. Peanut butter cookies.
Which I should. I think I have failed my husband because he is the number one consumer of peanut butter on the planet.
Yeah.
And I don't know what this is.
The peanut butter cookies at Homebrew, so good.
I've heard.
So good.
I just look at them and go, oh.
So these are peanut butter cookies with Hershey Kisses on top.
Oh.
Yeah. You've seen them.
I do know what that is.
You do know.
Okay. I've just never heard it.
So most people call them peanut butter blossoms. Several years ago, I wanted to make those at Christmas time for my then boyfriend, now husband.
Well, you didn't scare him off, so I guess
and his
happy ending.
Fellow firefighters at the fire station.
Oh, you're going to make it for the whole station. Julie,
I was going to be sweet and try and get in, make them like me so they'd say nice things about me to them. Yeah. But I didn't have Hershey's Kisses. So I used what I did have, which were chocolate bells, like bell-shaped chocolates.
Okay.
Do you know what happened?
You look like boobs.
I sent you a picture. You get a sweet treat that looks like a boob. So that is not my photo. It came from Pinterest, and I'm not on Pinterest, but I am telling you that is exactly.
We will post these on socials.
What my
cookies
looked like when I pulled them out of the oven.
They're like, Jeremy, what kind of woman are you dating?
Right? I immediately...
What is she saying here?
No. He didn't know about this probably until after we were married.
That's hilarious. So did you end up taking them?
No.
Okay.
I immediately looked at my sister because she was home, visiting for the holidays. And I was like, I cannot take these to the fire station. We laughed so hard. And we still laugh about this to this day because people will post photos like that. Yeah. And I am always the first to be, and she'll share them with me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we know, we know this is what happens. So if you ever need a good laugh, search for baking fails, and both Bored Panda and Reddit will come through for you in a heartbeat.
Okay.
But in doing my research, I found a very interesting and truly criminal story of true crime. So the setting, the Collin Street Bakery in Corsicana, Texas, south of Dallas. Founded in 1896, the Collin Street Bakery is famous for its...
1896?
Yeah, it's old.
Okay.
It is famous for its fruitcakes. Specifically, the deluxe fruitcake, which is copyrighted, by the way.
I feel like I've heard this about this company.
Yeah. So a regular size sells for $36.45 online currently, a large for $74.45. But these bad boys get nearly 5-star reviews from more than 12,000 reviewers. So they are legit a famous
I don't know how I've heard
company.
This. I've heard this
maybe you have heard a little bit about this story.
Okay, I can't wait. Okay? Now I'm really intrigued.
So Sandy Jenkins, a man named Sandy, was hired to be the bakery's corporate controller in February of 1998. And he served in that role until June of 2013, so many years. Over the course of about 9 years, authorities say dating back to at least December 2004, Sandy stole a lot of dough from the bakery to the tune of about $16.7 million.
Holy crap.
How?
This is a serious bakery.
How, you ask?
I do.
I asked too. In a blog by CPA Charles Hall, Hall explains it pretty simply because immediately I'm like, how did it go on for 9 years and to that level? So he explains it pretty simply. Jenkins would print and send a check to his personal credit card company, but void that check in the accounting system. Then he'd print a second check for the same amount to a real vendor, but never mail it. Not a super elaborate scheme.
Wow. Also, this is not a lesson.
No.
This is a report.
Mm-hmm. Where did all that money go over 9 years?
Gee, his pocket?
According to federal authorities, the government submitted evidence at sentencing that showed Sandy and his wife, Kay, took 223 trips on private jets to Santa Fe, Aspen, Napa Valley, among other places.
Wow.
Purchased 38 vehicles. They had a real love for Lexus, so there were several of those. A Bentley, a Porsche.
A Bentley.
Mm-hmm. They bought expensive jewelry and wine. They spent more than $11 million on a black
What was
American
his annual
Express
salary?
card.
Do you have that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Here's the doozy, in my opinion. An estimated $1.2 million was spent at a Neiman Marcus store in Dallas, where the employees, as you can imagine, loved them.
Yep.
They were referred to
Yep.
as Fruitcake and Cupcake.
Okay.
Now it's sounding familiar.
I've never heard that,
Uh-huh.
but
Yes.
that makes sense.
So we talk often about red flags, right, in the EscapePod. Here's the one that gets me. Their legitimate income from the bakery, about $50,000 a year.
That's what I thought. I think my favorite murder covered the actual crime, like in depth.
Yeah.
And like this guy's going into the office every day, and meanwhile the owners aren't even like living that kind of lifestyle, and
No.
she didn't come from wealth, and they were so trusting because it was a family business, and just
Yeah.
what a piece of crap.
So according to Hall, the CPA who wrote about this couple in his Hall Talk blog in 2022, the bakery could have escaped this whole mess if someone had compared the names on cleared checks with the names in the general ledger.
Yeah.
Someone other than Jenkins should have been reconciling the bank statements.
Yep.
So talk about a lesson learned the hard way. In May of 2014, Sandy
He says
pleaded
16 million?
Yeah, more than
Sheesh.
16 million. In May of 2014, Sandy pleaded guilty to 1 count of mail fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering, and 1 count of making a false statement to a financial institution. Cupcake, pleaded guilty a year later to 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. In September of 2015, a judge sentenced then 66-year-old Sandy Jenkins to 120 months, 10 years, in federal prison. He sentenced Kay to 5 years probation, 100 hours of community service, and ordered her to write a formal apology to the bakery. The cash and property they still had were seized, totaling about $4 million. They were ordered to repay the rest, about $12.5 million in restitution.
No one's going to hire them. How the hell are they going to do that?
Right. Well, I couldn't find the latest status of Kay Jenkins, but Sandy Jenkins actually died in federal prison in 2019.
Because he had no hope of paying that back.
No, probably not. Here is the
Kay
silver
better find a
lining
sugar daddy.
for the bakery. Sugar
See what I
daddy.
did there?
It's such a wild story that it's garnered a lot of attention from Hollywood types. So a 90-minute documentary was made a few years ago titled Fruitcake Fraud. It debuted on Discovery Plus during the holiday season in 2021. So the Fruitcake Company has a pretty great website, and they have articles on there, their history, a lot of stuff on there. And it does appear that really every time this kind of comes up, when it gets into the public eye again, their fruitcake sales go up. So they are kind of making the most of a bad
well,
situation.
good.
Because
They
what do
deserve
people buy
that.
during the holidays?
I hope they've made back their 16 point whatever million.
So probably not yet, but third generation owner-operator Bob McNutt said, quote, the documentary was very
McNutt,
well
that's
put
right.
together. It's so classic. You couldn't make that up.
No, it's perfect.
He said it was very accurate and it appropriately reflected well on the people at the bakery. And in March of just last year, 2024, it was announced that after several delays, including the pandemic and writer strikes, another movie would be made about the case, and it is supposed to star Jennifer Garner.
Oh, cool.
So there wasn't anything more recent about that, so not sure where it kind of lands today.
So she's Cupcake?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
According to an article on the bakery's website, Mr. McNutt sees it as an opportunity to offset the financial sting that resulted from Jenkins' thievery. McNutt said, because of the embezzlement, Collin Street Bakery lost about $17 million. Because of this film, I hope we'll get every penny back and more.
How do you go in and look every day at you're working alongside these people and you're ripping them off?
Right. I did.
That
have
reminds
a
me of
friend-
our little tech nerd guy that killed the Baxters.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of what that reminds me of. Not
bit.
murdering, but
Right, yeah.
still every single day. Here, drink this smoothie.
So that's your Escape Bite.
Thank you. That's
You're
great.
welcome. See you again next time.
Bye, everybody.